Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I was recently inspired by a collage that I made for my Like to Know It and Instagram, and I share them a ton here on the community tab here on YouTube. But I was inspired by, I think I called it Decor Must-Haves, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, I think it was called Decor Must-Haves, which is essentially kind of like 7 items that I think are essentials that really have helped me personally in my home decor and kind of made everything make sense when it came to decorating our home. So I'm gonna go over those with you guys. Now, I used to do more videos like this a while back, but I kind of stopped doing them because I just like to capture decor and take you guys along the journey with me. I don't like to give like, don't do this and don't do that. It's just not my style. However, I thought, you know what? These few items have really changed the game for me in my home and my style, and you can apply these to any decor style. So I want to talk about 7 decor essentials, I guess I could say, that really changed the game for me in our styling and just made everything feel purposeful and like done well, I guess you could say. So before I get into those, I do want to talk about kind of, before you start purchasing those, really gathering a mood board and color palette and texture palette for your interiors, for your home, things that make sense. This makes shopping so much easier. And this was the thing that, this is like the #1 thing that really was a game changer for me. Once I kind of really refined what kind of materials I like, what kind of textiles I love, it really made shopping so much easier. It really helped simplify everything. I don't know, I think it was really good. So for me, I really love linens. I love woods, especially more like raw woods. I love black stained wood. I love brass. I love silver. Knowing those, oh, and I love pottery, but knowing those, when I'm out shopping, I'm looking for those, and it just makes it so much easier to shop and way less buyer's remorse, way less just confusion in interiors. Anyway, I feel like I'm dragging this on. Let me get into the 7 home decor must-haves that I think have been such a game changer in our home. The first decor essential that I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I'm gonna say. For me, it's clay pots, but just in general, having pots and vases in your home, I think really help add some heftiness to the space depending on what kind of material you're using. It really helps it feel complete. Personally, for me, like I said, I love clay pots. I love them especially because they're a piece of art on their own. I don't need flowers to make them like make it feel complete, or you know, sometimes if you have a very basic vase out, it feels a little bit awkward being out, at least in my home and in my opinion. But having something like a vessel or a vase that has, you know, some shape to it, some very high quality material, it's an art piece on its own, and something I feel like has totally elevated our home in just such a beautiful way. And I don't know, I feel like it just completes the whole look. It just adds some shape. I feel like furniture is very square for the most part. I mean, of course, you can get like a round table, a round coffee table. There are round, but I feel like they're less common. Most of the times things are like a bed's very square, a dresser usually very square. So adding in a vase or a vessel, adding in that other shape, to me just helps it feel balanced, and something I really, really love adding to our home. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I personally love to have kind of a library in my mind of different materials that I like. So when I'm out shopping, I know if it's gonna go in my space really well and thread through each room and flow from one room to another very seamlessly and very, like, it makes sense for our home. This is why I personally love when certain people do themes for their home. So they might have the same rug in each room. They might have the same paint color for their house. And then from room to room, you can kind of make subtle changes with drapery or bedding or different things like that that kind of set that room apart, but that helps the room flow. This is the same idea as having different materials in the decor pieces that you're buying. For instance, for me, raw wood, clay, the glass, I love those sort of things because I know it's gonna look really well in my home no matter what room I put it in. I also like to have a collection of pots and vases because one, I think you need a little bit of a collection. Now you can be crazy like me and have quite a few, or you can just have, you know, 1, 2, 3, one in each material that you love. Like maybe if you sit down, make a list of materials, brass, wood, glass, you know, whatever, then when you're out shopping, you can get the different pieces that you're shopping for, like one in each material. So if you have, you know, like a delicate flower, it might look better in glass. But if you have olive branch, it might look better in like a clay pot, just depending on the material. You have a collection to choose from. And I feel like getting a little bit of a collection, especially in these decor basics, has been game changer for me because not every flower, in my opinion, in my home looks good in every vase. Sometimes certain vases are speaking to me more than others. Moving on, the next decor item that I think is essential, or like a decor basic that every home needs, and it just helps give that finishing touch, is throw blankets. Not only do I love to have throw blankets like draping over this side of a couch, on the end of a bed, to potentially grab it and snuggle with. That rarely happens. I mostly have them purely for looks, and I love that I can add in print this way, or even color, or different textures and materials. For a quick example, I have this mohair throw blanket out the edge of our bed, which is very hairy and very fuzzy, but it adds this just fuzzy texture to the space that feels very cozy and comfortable and inviting. So having throw blankets, I think, is such an easy way to add in, like I said, those fun textures and materials, but I think is also a home decor essential, and because I think it's something that finishes off a space. Like sometimes I'll be putting together a vignette and I will not have a throw blanket and something's missing, and the second I put a throw blanket, it's done. Just like the clay pots, with throw blankets, I think you should have a collection of different textiles and fabrics, and I think spend some time getting to know the fabrics that you personally love. Like for me, I don't love, I think it's called chenille, I think is what I'm thinking of. It just does not vibe with me. I love wools, I love linens, I love jacquard prints in our home. I think knowing that makes shopping for those items so much easier, and has simplified my home decor shopping so much, and has really helped me fine-tune my style and get to know my style and what I love by focusing on the fabrics. So go to a fabric store and just get you a coffee, hang out, and really get to know the fabrics that you love. I promise you, it makes such a big difference if home interiors are important to you and something that you want to fine-tune for your life. Try it out. Let me know. On the back of my chair, I have this jacquard blanket. This is actually one of my very favorite throw blankets, and it's no longer available. I found a very similar one on Amazon, but this one's from Zara Home. I got this a couple years ago, but I just love the subtle print that you can barely see. I really, really love this. And finding prints, like I said, and materials and things that you love just make decorating so much easier. So like I said, you can barely see it. Hopefully you can kind of see like a little bit of the floral. It's two-tone, so I think it's lighter on the inside with the darker print, and then darker on the outside. But this one stays on the back of my chair. As you can see, it's not bad without the throw blanket. It's very clean, very tidy, very contemporary looking. But once I add this throw, it adds just a little bit of warmth to it. It's like inviting, it's another layer. And I love having very specific throws in the home that just help the space feel cozy and comfortable and really help achieve the look that I'm going for. The next one is kind of a no-brainer. At least I thought it was a no-brainer. However, I personally have gone through this, and I will go to a space and I'm like, oh, if there was just a tray here to corral all of these items, it would make the biggest difference. So the next item is trays. Trays are crucial, I think, to interiors, because not only do they add another layer, another material to a space, but they also corral items. So they help clean up a mess and make it feel tidy and like more decorated than just stuff thrown on, you know, the top of a dresser or a coffee table. They really help clean it up. Again, I think trays, you should have a collection of different materials, the same type of materials that you have in other collections of your home. So for instance, if I had a clay pot on a wood side table, maybe I'd grab a brass tray or a silver tray to just kind of break those up. But I'm using those materials, the clay, the wood, the silver, in other areas of my home that really help the rooms flow and make sense and kind of talk to each other. And this has truly been the biggest difference in my interiors and just how I've been purchasing, and it just makes sense. So for me, I like to have trays in marble, wood. I really love kind of that woven like wicker or rattan look. I think that adds in just another very comfortable, inviting material, and I love having those. And then you can get different shapes. So you can get round, you can get, I have a tray that has scalloped edges, you can get, you know, all the different kinds of shapes, scalloped, marble trays, different things like that, and have a little collection that you can move from room to room, and different vignettes in your home that really help complete the look. I like to use trays everywhere in the house, and this is a great example. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did clear this off a little bit for the video because it gets quite full in here and it just was not pleasing to the eye. But whenever I do a video and I share this, it allows me time to reset, pull off a ton of the items, and, you know, clear it off a little bit. But this is a great example of how I like to use trays to corral items. If these were just sitting on the countertop, matter of fact, let me show you. Here are the items just on the countertop. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good either, at least to me. But putting them in a tray just cleans it up and really, adding the layers, adding that extra little bit really goes a long way. Just having them corralled help the whole aesthetics of the space. It just really does make the biggest difference. Now this one I bought from Target years ago, but I have one linked on my storefront, and I'll link the similar one down below. I love this white marble dish, or tray, excuse me, for the bathroom. I don't know why, maybe it's because of the dark countertops. I like it in here. And then I love to layer multiple trays sometimes because it just adds a little bit more depth. It adds a little bit more visual interest. And this is just a good example. You can move things around. Like I said, mine's a little bit, I had to pull some stuff out, but a lot of the times I have my makeup brushes in here as well, and it starts to get really full, but it's like good full. I try to put aesthetically pleasing things on here when I can, but a lot of the times our daily items end up on here and it can look messy, but having it on a tray helps it look tidy at least. Jewelry dishes and catch-all bowls. Now, very similar to trays, but these are different because trays, you're gonna corral different things maybe on like your coffee table or in your bathroom. You're gonna kind of corral all of your items, your perfumes, whatever it is. With jewelry dishes, I almost like to keep these empty, but the option to, you know, take off your jewelry and put them in there, but then you're gonna put your jewelry back on. Something kind of clean, but a finishing touch. And to me, I think that these oftentimes look better empty for the most part. When the ones I'm thinking of, you know, like limestone bowls or a little dish on your entryway table, but it gives you the option to throw your keys in there, throw your receipts, whatever, for a short period of time, because you don't want it to get full and kind of messy, but it's still gonna corral the items. And it also is nice to have these for another material and layer. Also, yes, of course, have a collection of these because you're gonna want different materials to move from different vignette and different vignette. As you move rotate your decor and spruce things up and just redecorate your space, you can shop your own home this way by having a collection. And maybe you used a linen book that you want to do a brass catch-all tray, but then the next time you have maybe a just solid book that doesn't have a lot of texture to it and you want to put like a limestone bowl on top, something like that. Having the collection, it gives you a little bit of an inventory to go through in your own home and shop your own home and be able to rotate your items from room to room. And this is why I love having that material library, I guess you could say, because when I'm out shopping and I'm buying these things, I know that I can use them in multiple different areas of my home, and my home is gonna flow and make sense. And like I said, I'm gonna say it again, it's been a game changer. The next item I think is essential is decor boxes, something that has a lid. So if you do have a pile of receipts or a little bit of a mess, you can hide it. It's clean, it's tucked away. You can put your sunglasses in there and put it on your entryway table. You can put your remote on your coffee table, on your bedside table. Maybe you have your remote if you have a TV in your room, whatever. I like decor boxes not only because they look good and they add another material and texture to a vignette, but also sometimes you need to hide things away, but you need it nearby where you can just go grab it. For instance, a remote to your TV or your keys to your car, things like that. If you are like me and you don't always love having your keys in a catch-all, having that box, you can just open the box, grab your keys, and it just looks clean and tidy. So I like having the option, and I think that it really does help. And it adds another element, another decor object that isn't so like too much of the same thing. As I mentioned, I think boxes are essential, and inside of this box I have sunglasses. So you can hide them away, but you can easily grab your sunglasses before heading outside, and it's not fussy, but it's put away and it's tidy. The next item, I've talked about this a ton, is drink tables. The reason why I think drink tables are a decor essential for me is, one, they are so underrated. There's so many times I will go into a space and I'm like, this just needs a little drink table right here. I love the layer it adds, but not only having a drink table next to a random chair or at the end of a couch, or you know, somewhere where you might sit, be on your phone, you want to set your book down, your drink down, your phone down, having that convenience. They also come in clutch for little random areas in your home that could use a little decor element. For instance, in our bathroom, I have a space that I had some art, but it just felt like it needed something at the bottom. Obviously, I'm not going to set my drink in the bathroom, you know, on the tray or on the drink table, but I put a little pot there with flowers sometimes. But having that drink table there just really helps it feel complete. So those tiny little areas in your home that could use a little piece of decor, a drink table is so fun to add there. You can put a little candle on top of there. You could use it as a plant stand. You could have it alone right there with nothing on it. And it just feels like you didn't forget about that little nook in your home, or that awkward small wall that could just use a little oomph. Oh, and I like to also have a collection of these, whether that is your, you know, tiny little drink tables or little bistro tables that have marble with iron, or a metal drink table, or a vintage wood milking stool. Having a variety to choose from and a variety that you can move from room to room, I think really does come in handy. And I don't know, I have multiple drink tables in my home, and I will show you here in a minute, but I love every single one of them. They just make things look complete, and they also are so useful. In our bathroom, I have two little tables. I have this little drink table right here, and then that wood milking stool back over there in the corner. And this is a good example of me mixing so many different materials in here, but also using these little drink tables, and how
it really just helps an area feel complete. A lot of the times I'll have flowers in this little clay pot, but right now I don't have flowers in there, but I don't mind it. So as you can see, I have these little clay pots all over my house, and they just add, they're just so, I don't know, I just love them. I have them everywhere, I love them. But as you can see, this drink table here, I have just right below this artwork, and it just helps it feel complete, especially when you're in here in the space. It just feels like I added some decor that maybe someone might not think of, but it feels cute and cozy. So this one is from Zara Home, this drink table, but I also have a very similar one linked on my Amazon storefront, and I'll link it down below. I just love the simplicity of this drink table. It's just there, but also just simple. It's just simple, and I really love that. And then over here, we have this little vintage milking stool. So I had metal and clay over here, and then over here I have the wood, the marble or limestone, and just a little decorative, vignette on top. But it just fills this little corner over here, and it makes it feel just done. And I love it. I think having these all over, it's just like a special little touch. Here's another example of a clay pot in our bathroom. It doesn't have any florals, but it speaks for itself. It's just something on the counter that feels decorated, that feels inviting, but it looks even better when I have some fresh cut olive twig in here or flowers, whatever. Like I said, I love these. I think that they complete the entire look.
And then the last item that I think is an essential is coffee table books. Now, I am a collector of coffee table books. They are some of my favorite things to have in our home. I have vintage books. I have a ton of decor books. I have a couple fashion books, but I quickly realized that I don't ever really go into my fashion books, and that I do love to look through my art books and my decor books. So I would say get coffee table books in hobbies or interests that you like, or things that really make sense for your lifestyle, whether that's places that you've traveled or whatever it is. It could be music, it could be cars, whatever. I think coffee table books have really changed the game for me when it comes to decor. Not only do they add height and layers and a lot more going on with the space, they kind of make a home feel cozy and lived in. Something about books just feels very familiar and very comfortable in a way. It just almost is like very approachable when I go into a home and I see books. It helps dress down the home in a way, at least for me. But I also love to use coffee table books kind of like a tray to corral items and really kind of clean things up and give items spaces to live on, like decor items. Sometimes if I just put a piece of a decor item on a table, it just feels very lonely and, I don't know, awkward, like it's on its own island. But I put a coffee table book underneath and it's perfect.
Here's one of my clay pots, and even though it's pretty on its own, it kind of feels like lonesome, if that makes sense. It just feels like, first of all, it needs some more decor on here. It just isn't sitting on this table strong and proud. Like, it feels a little sad. But putting a couple coffee table books underneath that, and then once I add a few more decor pieces here on the side, it just makes it feel way more complete, layered. It feels intentional. Something about coffee table books just help complete the whole look and just feels better to me. I'm in a really dark area of our home, so sorry if the lighting is super low, but this was a good example of having some decor books with a catch-all bowl on top just to help complete the look. Because if I took out these decor books and I just put the bowl, to me that feels very, like, it's just lonely and it needs something. So adding decor books to help give it some layers and some height and some dimension and interest, I think this is the biggest reason why books have been such a game changer for me because I think it just really helps it feel purposeful. Like it just doesn't feel like a lonely piece of decor that needs something. And like I said, you can get decor books on Amazon. You could go to your local thrift stores and find them. But my biggest tip is to get them in things that you're interested in. For me, it's home decor and art, but also get them in a bigger scale if you can. It really does make a difference than small little books because your decor a lot of the times will fit on it. And then up top, I have another vase, or excuse me, another pot with some coasters. Now, I don't have any flowers right now, so it's looking a little sad, but I still love just this big vase on the side of the table. I don't know why, to me, I love it, even though it doesn't have any florals in it. But once I put florals in it, it shines even better. All right, you guys, those are the 7 home decor essentials, like kind of like capsule home decor pieces that have really changed the game for me in my home and have really helped each room flow from one to the other. Truly, those, I think those are probably, there definitely could be more, but those are my top 7. Let me know what your essentials are in your home that you feel like have really helped elevate your home. As always, all of these items, or at least the ones that I can link, will be linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in a couple days with another. Bye.
I would say we were good together.